And by the grace of God, we've got another daytime react. Hey, hi, hello friends. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, you know what to do. Clickety-clack that like button and hit subscribe. Today we're going to be discussing Chantal's late live bees, I think it was called, or something of that sort. The deleted live, that the clips of which have been making the rounds all over the internet. So forgive me. Ooh, my audio was not on. Forgive me if I sound a little hoarse. Some members of my family have a pretty high fever right now. It's just the common cold, but it's like everybody's immunity just went away because of the year we spent completely quarantined. So I think I'm catching a little bit of it. My throat's a little sore. Here's hoping that I don't really get seriously sick. With all that said, let's get into her live stream. So first off, I want to give credit where credit is due. This is condensed from JustSayin's condensation, where she went through and she clipped everything. I went through and I clipped her video down by a lot. It's basically just like 11 minutes at this point. It only, like I said, I only ever talk about stuff that I feel like I have something to contribute to, and I have a feeling this is going to be a long one. So with all that said, let's jump into it.
Okay, so the weekend, I mean, yeah, I could buy, like, I don't know, I just don't know if I want to, like, spend money on VIP seats or if I want to actually just get the crappy $50 seats. Do we meet the weekend or do we not meet the weekend? I'm sure that they're not going to all be sold out. Give me a break.
So, two things in this regard. First, very high probability of stuff being sold out very fast. I actually wanted to go see a couple of artists that were doing venues near me, and unfortunately everything got sold out so damn fast I wasn't able to get anything. And the reason for that is because everybody spent so long in quarantine that people are just, they're so excited about being able to do things that tickets are going like this, like you would not believe. As for her not buying the weekend tickets, we've seen how impulsive Chantal can be when she wants to buy stuff. She's especially like, I don't know, fluid with her money when it's something that she personally wants, right? So if there's some people out there who will spend money mostly on other people. My mom is like that. She doesn't tend to buy herself anything, but she will buy everybody's stuff, given half the opportunity. It's just how she is. When it comes to Chantal, whenever she wants something, she has a very hard time saying no. We've seen that in all aspects of her life, of course, but, you know, this is just one of them. So I'm surprised that she is saying no, unless, of course, there is another reason. I think she really doesn't have the money. Now, she's been going through money very, very fast, especially when it comes to, you know, let's just say snow, right? She's been spending money on snow a lot. This stuff isn't exactly cheap. If it was, so many people wouldn't be out there peddling it. And she has bought a lot of it, from my understanding. And some of it she says she flushed, and I'm pretty sure she's acquired more in the meantime. She's also supporting Dom, who, as we know, is currently not working, and she's paying for all of, well, let's just say their habits. So I am not shocked that she is currently strapped for cash. It would also explain some of her other behaviors, like her in the chat just repetitively saying, well, you know, you have to give me this much money. I can't believe there's only this many people in here. You know, if you want to stay members, you have to like put it in. And then like the continued open chats that she's been doing, which she had no intentions of doing before, she wants to do now. And then some other stuff we'll see later on where she's baiting some problems to try and get more people to become members, so that when she puts it in a members only chat, people want to pay for that content so they can like say whatever they want. That's saying whatever we want. We already know it's like very, very like a loose line with Chantal, because she has no problem just deleting anybody, even if they are paying, but whatever. So I think she is really hard up for cash right now. And I know she talks about it a little bit later on, saying that, you know, she doesn't have as much like liquid cash right now, but I think it's actually worse than that. I don't think Chantal has had a heavy savings account to begin with, and I think whatever she has, she's pretty much blown through. I think Pete's probably has a little bit money put away, but I also think it's like for his retirement, you know, the stuff that's like tax locked and you can't really pull out. Otherwise, I am sure that if Chantal wanted to and she asked, Pete's would have given it to her.
I'm not even sure. I kind of want to just wait till like January, because I changed my plan so fast, you know?
She says she changes her plans so fast, but what it really is that she has every intention of going up until she gets to that moment where you have to leave the house, and then she realizes, oh crap, I I don't want people to see me. She's embarrassed of being perceived. We've seen this multiple times. This is not news to anybody. She's very, very uncomfortable in her own body. If you guys remember the walk that she did where she said someone called her fat and it put her all in a mood about it, she's not a confident person no matter what she says. So when it comes time to actually executing on those plans, going to the place, seeing the people, doing the things, she like backs out immediately because she's frightened essentially of people seeing what she looks like and essentially not liking what they see. And she feels enough of that as it is that she doesn't want to see that reflected in other people's faces.
We need you to stop singing. Why?
Because you're bad at it.
Nice.
No.
You don't have the money to spend. Not right now. I've been really careless. I have to catch up on stuff.
So that's the thing. She mentioned in another live that she was spending about $1,000 or something like that, like more than that on food. I'm sure she spends a lot on food. But if Chantal's to be believed, she also expenses most of that. So she should get back a pretty hefty check at the end of the year with all of the taxes that are going to be returned to her. If she was still spending about the same as she was before the drugs, this shouldn't be an issue. Unless there are added expenditures now, right? She's eating, she's on camera all day, pretty much every day. So we've seen how much she's eating, how much she's ordering out. The amount that she's eating and ordering out hasn't substantially increased to the point where she should no longer have money. And she stopped doing all those hauls and stuff that she was doing before. The biggest haul that I can think of her doing recently was that cannabis haul. But before we had those $300, $400, $500 Torrid hauls. So that's sort of taken the place of that a little bit, but I still think overall she's coming in under. So what is she spending all of the extra money on? I mean, anybody can take a shot at it, but you all know what I suspect it to be.
And we have to think about moving and everything, so I have a lot on my plate. I want a new car. My car is shrinked.
All this stuff she could easily afford if she actually just saved. It's the same thing where she talks a lot about how, how expensive inpatient treatment is for like eating disorders. And she said multiple times that she doesn't have the money to go into them. If Chantal saved for like a full year, she could do it. But long-term planning is not something Chantal is good at. She's good at making the plan, but actually following through has always been a problem with her.
Is everybody in bed?
Yeah, I mean, why would they be in bed at 3 in the morning?
Some people work. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I guess I don't know what that's like.
No, you don't.
Actually, I worked my whole life, so I do know.
Oof, sorry about my hair. It's just not behaving the way that I wanted to. I washed it today, and it didn't handle that well. Anyway, Chantal's like, I've worked my whole life, We've seen her do YouTube as her full-time gig for at least like 3 years now. And before that, she was unemployed. And before that, she had a job where she was so lackadaisically bad at that they fired her, for which she sued them. And that's how she got a payout. So when she says she's worked her whole life, I have no idea what you mean. Someone who's worked their whole life would be like my dad, who's literally had multiple jobs his entire life, all the way back to when he was like 14 and tutoring kids who were younger than him. That's what working your whole life means. I'm not shaming somebody for not doing that. That's my dad's personality. It's part of who he is. He's not the kind of person who's happy sitting at home. He thinks like he's one of those people who does poorly if he's got idle hands. But that doesn't mean that she should construe what she is doing before and now as working. When YouTube was giving her a smaller amount of money and it wasn't sustaining her, it was a hobby that paid, right? You can't classify that as your livelihood if you're not living on it. She was living on BB's livelihood, to be honest. And now that she is making an income from it full time, I'm sorry, but this is not working. But I mean that in all aspects of the term, by which I mean this is not working for her personally, but that's a different story. But it's also not considered to be her doing work. If you're sitting in one place and you're reading the questions that your chat is posing to you and you're answering them, to a certain degree, I could think that could be work, but it isn't for Chantal by her own words. She said multiple times that having people to talk to online has really helped her, that it's made her feel better. And what she's describing here is either gabbing with a group of friends, or you could loosely call it as being like trauma dumping or like just open source therapy. This is not actual work then, because none of those other things can be considered work. So you're either working right now, in which case you should treat this with professionalism, you should bring good content to the table, you should listen to feedback, and you should be held accountable for the product you put out, or this is not work, in which case you don't have to do any of that, but then we can be upset with what you're saying right now because it's obviously a lie and a misconstruing of the facts.
I haven't been doing a good job of my work lately. I know that.
You weren't doing a particularly great job of it before. It's just that now it's gotten even worse. And I don't think this is ever going to change. I think we might occasionally get like a one-off video, but I think the majority, the vast, overwhelming majority of her channel from now until her death are going to be just live streams. And I do mean like her death. I don't mean that she's going to die on camera. I just mean that whenever it is that she dies will be the day when she stops uploading, because I think Chantal is way too addicted to the lifestyle that she leads now to ever actually actively change it. Not unless she had to, I should say.
I don't deserve you guys.
I want to open my own channel. It's more work than I want to put in. It's effort, and like I have to like think of things to say, and I'd have to.
Do you see how bored Chantal looks? She's like completely uninterested in anything he's saying.
Yeah.
I mean, not that Chantal does that.
Thinking of things to say? Ew.
No, I just said this is not work. Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
I'm gracing you.
Chantal doesn't think me busy. Chantal has things to say. Chantal never shuts up.
Chantal doesn't have anything to say. Chantal listens to what other people are asking and then she responds to them. But like I said before, there are actual creators out there who do live streams, and their live streams are great and incisive and well done. And when they are doing a live stream, they bring topics that they want to discuss. Rather than filming a video and editing it, they just do it off the cuff and they can answer people's questions as they go. Like I said, great channel for that is for Harriet, Kimberly Nicole Foster, fantastic creator. Another creator who does very, very great lives would be T from the Nappy-Headed Jojoba. She is fantastic, and her lives are also fantastic. Chantal is not one of those people, right? She does not bring anything to the table. And I'm not using creators here because like we are talking about what she is talking about, right? So automatically it's a similar concept, other than the fact that we actually have to think out our content. She does not do any of her own research. So if you're talking about people who are leeching off of other for content, fine, you can call us that. You can say that content creators like me, reactors, are leeching off of Chantal's content. But then she's leeching off of her audience. She's putting in even less effort than we are, because at least I'm sitting here watching her react, and then I'm editing together a video, and then I'm doing that. She's not even doing any of that shit.
Oh, is it?
Oof. Oh, God, that's disgusting. I mean, you'll see some clips. Cups on the floor. Who knows? Probably spilled shit on there too. Just gross, gross. So gross. God, look at that makeup. It's filthy.
I know my thing is so dirty. I gotta clean it again.
Again? When was the last time you actually actively cleaned it? She talks about how she had like Dom over, and so she did a little cleaning, and then he came over and then he cleaned again. If someone comes to your house and they feel the need to clean your house for you, you didn't do a good enough job cleaning your house the first time around. And by her standards, I think what she means by cleaning is just picking all the filth off the floor. It's not like wiping down and potentially even sanitizing some of that stuff. Like, God only knows. Her makeup was mixed in there with all of that garbage. I hope she isn't putting that shit on her face.
Don't judge me. People take screenshots of the dirty parts.
Yeah, because it's astonishing. It's the same reason that people watch Hoarders. This is gross. It's gross, and you're being gross. And she's laughing because she's uncomfortable, because she knows she's being gross.
I'm all red. I'm embarrassed.
She's not that embarrassed. If she was actually actively embarrassed, she'd do something about it. There are things I'm embarrassed about too, but one of them is not that my house is gross. I would never leave my house in that condition. By the way, that pile you're seeing in the back, if you saw it in the beginning, those are curtains. I'm changing out my curtains. I was bored of the ones I had. But I don't leave stuff lying around my house. I'm a weirdly pedantically neat person, but not everybody has to be like that. Partner's not like that. Like I've said, he'll leave like, clean clothes, like folded up. He'll put them in a chair in a corner, and he'll like just pull from them or whatever. That's not the same as leaving piles of dirty laundry on the floor, leaving takeout containers sitting there for days with leftover food rotting on your desk, leaving trash mixed in with your cosmetics. Like, that is a level of disgusting that I don't know how to process. And once more, I can understand that this can be a symptom of her depression. It can be a symptom of her anxiety. It can be a symptom of a lot of different things. But if you want a good method of dealing with it, once more, I recommend Kimberly Nicole Foster's video, I Got Roasted on the Internet for Being a Hoarder. Let's talk about it. she did a great job covering how she has a problem with hoarding, and it was hard for her to deal with. And so what she did was that she hired someone to come in and clean her house. Like, I think it was like 2 times a month or something like that. She could do something like that. She could hire somebody to come in and just clean her house. I've said before that I've done that when I felt like I wasn't able to take care of my own space. I don't see why, if she has the money for it, and we know she has the money for it, or all she would have to be is eat like 4 less shatter bears a month, and she would 100% be able to like afford having someone come in and clean her house at least once a month, you know? And I don't know if I've left it in here or not. And so I'm not sure if she's left it in here or not, but I know that Pete says at some point that he's having a lot of issues with his depression as well. And I've said before how closely the space that you're living in is aligned with the sort of mental space that you keep, right? So living in a filthy place will actively make it harder for you to feel good in your own body. And it has like a negative inverse correlation with each other. So when you're looking at the way that Chantal is here talking about like just how filthy and gross her place is, the fact that she was supposed to be the one responsible for cleaning up, and then you look at Pete's mental health, I can't help but feel that those things are like interlinked with each other. She's lazy and she won't clean the house. She's the one who's supposed to be paying for the majority of this, and if she's falling behind on her chores, she should be the one to hire someone out of her own pocket. She's not doing that either. So either Pete is trying to keep up the cleaning, which we've seen him not really be able to do, or much more likely he's just leaving everything there. And because of that, I think it's having a negative effect on his mental health. I don't think it's the reason why he's in the state that he is, but I do think that it plays a part in it.
Shut up, paper pooper. Go to it now.
What do black people?
We have seen it all. It's so true.
Yeah.
This is so bad. Chantal, can you spill the tea about your move? There's not really much news yet. That's why we haven't picked a place or anything. I don't know what's going on.
So a couple things. One, as far as people seeing it all, we really have, figuratively and literally, and she likes that because she doesn't think the internet is real. I've said this multiple times before. There's really no active consequences to her behaving the way that she does on the internet, and therefore she just assumes that there are no consequences, period, and continues to behave in this way. Look, you want to show your ass on camera, show your ass on camera. I'm not going to judge you for doing pretty much anything as long as it's consensual and it makes you happy. I don't give a shit. But understand that there are consequences to doing that. There is a stigma associated with doing sex work. So if you're willing to get into that, then understand that's what you're getting into. If not, then steer clear of it. But don't play in this weird middle ground because you don't think it's real and then like potentially burn any chances you have of doing stuff later. Excuse me. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that.
Honestly, what do you rather? Your own place or living together?
Yeah, living together because I am terrible and don't know how to take care of myself. Plus, I like living with you.
So 2 things. One, they haven't done any of the stuff because fundamentally I think Pete doesn't feel emotionally capable of dealing with it, and Chantal is lazy as all shit, and also I don't think she's actually capable of walking around most places. So if they don't kick them out, I doubt they will move. If they do move, I will very much be leaning towards the fact that management has asked them to leave. So it's just the way that I see it. As for Pete's wanting to live with her because he feels like he can't really take care of himself, I don't really think that's true in the literal sense. I think he's fine with keeping his own space clean. I think he's okay with either eating out or like occasionally like microwaving or heating something up for himself. I don't think those are the issues. Like the ins and outs of taking care of himself he can do, order an Uber potentially, take a bus, whatever. I think the part that he is not good at doing is maintaining social relationships. I think he has a hard time doing that. And I think he relies on Chantal for a lot of the physical like presence that people can provide. And I think that's very harmful. Pete has a lot of interests, and I wish that he would branch out and find other people who share those interests. Because Chantal, not only does she not take an interest in anything that he has an interest in, she actively dismisses them and treats them like they're less than. It's a terrible habit that she has, and I really wish she would stop because I can understand how it can make a person feel bad. I have a lot of weird, unique, like niche interests and very like random, silly things. And partner doesn't share all of them, but anytime I talk to him about it, he will sit there, he will listen, he will ask intelligent, engaging questions because he cares about what I think and he cares about my interests. Chantal doesn't care about any of that. Now, I understand that, partner and Chantal aren't the same sort of, aren't in the same sort of relationship with the other person who's living with them. But I think that when you have a friend who's relying on you for the majority of your comfort, and they both do, both rely on each other for the majority of their physical presence comfort, right? You should at least treat them with kindness, because I do think that Pete comes on camera because Chantal asks him to. But I don't think she's willing to even try and engage with anything he has an interest in.
All right, ball and chain. I'm just joking.
She jokes about it, but she doesn't actually, she feels that. She actually does view him and the cats, I think, as being some part of, a commitment, which is not something Chantal ever really wants. She wants to live free of any sort of responsibility to anyone or anything. And I do think she views this relationship as that to a certain degree, despite how much he does for her and despite how hard her life would be if she didn't have him there.
Actually, I don't really want to live with any, aw, Pete. Poor Pete. Can I give you a nuggie?
No.
What about if I want to have boyfriends? You're just going to let them come over, right?
Yep.
That's what he does. He's very easygoing. Just shut my door and screw them.
He's not easygoing. He's non-confrontational. Even if he was uncomfortable, Pete is not the kind of person who would say it. He said as much himself. So Chantal, as his friend, should respect what he would and would not be comfortable with, because she can't be that oblivious unless she's choosing to be that oblivious. Nobody is that delusional. So she's sitting here and she's saying, I just, go into the bedroom and I'd, whatever with them. In the meantime, here Pete is, poor guy, just sitting there and being like, I guess that's fine. I guess this is what I have to live with.
If I want to have girlfriends, you'll send me to their place.
Yep. Okay, when we get up, what time is it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Chantal would. Chantal does not give one shit. It's everything is my way or the highway. There's a creator that did a very good analysis on Chantal's speech. I've recommended her before. Her name is Sherry something. I don't remember exactly, but I'll link her videos in the cards above so you guys can go through and just watch them as well. She does a great breakdown of Chantal's language towards Pete's and the way that he gray rocks her.
How many hours till 11? 7.5.
7.5, yeah.
Perfect. I'll wake up, put a load of laundry in, order Nashville chickens. Do you guys think I should go live?
Do you see how she has literally nothing else? I'll wake up, I'll do my own laundry, and then I guess I will eat food, and then blank. Nothing. Not a single damn thing, because there's nothing else in her life worth doing other than going live. And even that she only does because she needs the money.
For the day and clean and eat Nashville chickens and get ready? Or do a vlog?
Fun fact, she didn't end up really doing that. She did a breakfast, a Nashville breakfast, which if you guys are interested in me reacting to, I'll do that. If not, I'll skip right over to her spaghetti one.
And I'm going to weigh in too. And then once I have everything done, we'll really work hard tomorrow. We have to do this.
Yeah.
And then once everything is done, then I can just focus on doing videos again,
Okay. A little while ago, she'd mentioned that she was like, you can't wait. You shouldn't let things put you off. You should do things and, just try and be happy now and, just do it with that understanding that I'm going to be happy. I'm not going to wait to be happy or something of that regard. I don't remember the exact quote. I'm sorry. She's at the same time, she's sitting here and she's saying, oh, well, I'm just going to clean first and then I'm going to do videos. She's waiting on something else before she can do her videos. She doesn't need to do that. The process of her cleaning her house would actually make a great vlog. People love that stuff sped up. So she could literally just do that whole thing, put music over it or even talk over it, and people could just watch her cleaning her whole house. That's, if she wanted to put in the energy and the effort, which we all know she doesn't.
I just feel like I've been going through, the past few months where I've been doing live streams, a time in my life where I really needed to talk to you guys.
No, absolutely not. We are not your therapist. If you need to talk to someone, it should either be friends or family, or it should be a therapist, preferably a therapist. Do not talk to people in your chat. Randompeople.net is not the place to get advice from.
I don't know. I've just been going through so much that I don't have any cigarettes. I don't smoke cigarettes.
Two things. She's just been going through so much. Yes, that's why therapy is a thing that's available to you. You have those resources available to you. You should avail them of it. And then the thing she says about cigarettes. I'm going to let her finish her thought, and then I'm going to come back to it.
Maybe if someone's smoking a cigarette here, I might go have a drag, once in a while. Pretty much anything that's bad for me, I enjoy doing.
All right. So she's like, I don't really smoke. If someone's there, I'll just take a couple of drags. We have seen her getting on camera and smoking both cannabis stuff and non-cannabis stuff, like actual cigarettes. Do you guys remember when she was standing there? She was eating with one hand and she had a cigarette in the other hand and she was driving theoretically. Do you remember that? So the fact that she's sitting here and straight face saying, I don't smoke. You do smoke. You might not do it all the time, but you smoke. You definitely smoke. As for, being addicted, liking to do anything that's bad for her, 100%, that's why she likes doing it. It's that rebellious child in her that goes, oh, you're telling me not to, I'm going to go ahead and do it. She reminds me of my nephews, not my brother's kids. My brother doesn't have kids, but my cousin's kids. That's how they are. Like little boys are like 6 years old, and that's what they do. They'll sit there and be like, oh, you don't want me to do this thing? I'm going to go do this thing. Because they're children. Then they want to push my buttons. She's not a child, and the only person she's hurting here is herself, but she still has that mentality. Whatever is broken in her head cannot be fixed by talking to chat about it.
I have to come up with a practical schedule for everything in my life. Like, what are you doing?
I have to come up with a practical schedule. Chantal is great at making plans. Her follow-through is non-existent. It is non-existent.
Being here with them. This is my floor. I heard you say please. I heard you say please.
I don't know why I left this in. I should have cut it out.
No. Never mind with the Pinocchio nose. I have to do that. I have to. I didn't realize how much of an impact I had on being away from home. Till I came home and whenever the Sherry Bobbins leaves home and everyone's like, I swear to God, that's like everyone was like that.
Yeah, that's because you've been spending days and days and days at Dom's house. First of all, Pizza's not doing well mentally, right? So I would say that supporting your friend is a great idea. But if you can't do that, then at least look after your fucking cats and don't put that on him too while he's having a hard time taking care of himself. But she just disappears for days on end. She abandons the cats. She abandons Pete. She abandons her house and all of her responsibilities, whatever those responsibilities are. And then she'll come back and everyone's surprised that she's back. It's not like she's scheduling these things. It's not like they have a standing Saturday night dinner or that she tells Pete, hey, I'm going to be going over for the night or anything. She just up and leaves whenever she wants because she has nothing else going on in her life and he has nothing else going on in her life. She'll leave. She might say, I'm only going to be gone for a night or something, and then she'll stay for longer. She'll stay for however much time she wants because she is not accountable to anybody for anything. And that's how she lives.
Just what the fuck? Pete has a mental breakdown. The cats are having a mental breakdown. I'm having a mental breakdown.
Sorry about that pause, but I wanted to get that whole sentence out. The cats are having a mental breakdown because you're leaving them alone. Cats might not be as social as dogs, but they still need socialization, and they are your cats. So they probably do miss you, even if you are a piece of shit sometimes. Pete is genuinely having a hard time right now, probably at least in some part, to the way that you are behaving, both inside the house and outside of it. And last but not least, your mental breakdown is your own fault right now. Pete is doing his best to address his own mental health. You are choosing not to address your mental health and you're actively making it worse. So my sympathy for you in that regard is fairly low, especially because you're putting all of that on the same continuum. Pete is doing everything he can and he's still not getting the best results. The cats are suffering because of your behavior. And you are sitting there and putting your own problems on the same level as those two other categories when you have the option to actually take some steps forward and address your life and make it better. So my sympathy for you in this regard is low. No, you and Pete don't get the same amount of sympathy from me. You don't get the same amount of empathy from me. I don't feel equally as bad for both of you.
I'm happy to be home, of course. I love sleeping in my bed with the cats.
And I'm sure she does. She can't be as disgusting anywhere else.
But I really enjoy having a love life. You know?
I thought he wasn't your boyfriend. And also, I want to point out, she'll say at some point later on that she doesn't have any makeup on right now. You can see there's a mark on her face right now.
I don't want a dysfunctional, toxic, drug-filled life. No, I don't want that.
But you're with a dysfunctional, toxic, drug-filled person. Literally, you've told us that he can procure drugs for you, and he has in the past. And yet you're continuing to go back to him.
He just said, hi, Chantal. But I did reply, just like, hi, Nick, how are you? And that's all I said, and then nothing. I'm just going to see, I don't care. I don't even like him anymore. If he wants to hook up or something, I'm going to be like, nope. You know what? I'm gonna stand him up. Fuck it.
I'd like to see her try. She's never ever going to do that. She's way too insecure a person to ever go up to someone and be like, screw you, you hurt me, and I'm going to get like my revenge now. She's never going to do that because ultimately the validation that she craves is stronger than any other impulse that she has.
I'm just kidding.
Exactly. She's never going to.
I just thought it was so, like, I don't know. I do sound like a schoolgirl right now. That's how I know. I don't have like, I don't know. I'm just like that, like, boy crazy, schoolgirl, immature kind of thing when it comes to that.
No, you are immature schoolgirl level of maturity with everything in your life. You treat everything the way that a schoolgirl would. You have no idea about looking into doing better for yourself moving on. You don't ever make the effort to do better moving on. You don't ever take mature steps to put away money for yourself. Like, none of the actions she takes are the actions of an adult. They are the actions of someone who was like in the movie, 13 going on 30. And they thought that they were an adult, but they're a child trapped in an adult body. That's literally the way that she behaves. 1 second. And I'm back. Partner needed something from the room.
But I don't know. That's how I am. I still like to talk about boys all day long.
She likes to talk about boys all day long because fundamentally she doesn't actually have anything going on in her life. And I know people have pointed out I say fundamentally a lot, but I'm trying, okay? I'm trying. She doesn't have any aspects of her life other than boys that's making any kind of a headway or that's in any way interesting to anybody other than her, right? Like, doing drugs, getting stoned out of her mind might be fun for people to watch the first few times, but outside of that, not really. She doesn't have any interesting topics of conversation. She doesn't have any cool hobbies. She doesn't travel, and she doesn't even do like food reviews. She just stuffs her face on camera. So when it comes right down to it, the only part of her life where there's any kind of movement, both literally and figuratively, is going to be her love life. That's why she talks about it all of the time. I think if she had other hobbies to focus on, she probably wouldn't focus on this quite so much. I think if she had other areas of interest, she probably wouldn't be quite so obsessed with Dom, with just getting the D. And of course, part of that is also the fact that she is still a child. So she thinks like the fact that you found someone to have sex with is like the ultimate brag. Look, someone wants me. Look, someone wants me. See how cool I am? I have a boyfriend, unlike you losers.
He seems to contact me when he's lonely. Yeah, probably.
I think he's a troll, fundamentally. I don't know if he's part of the Hater Nation or whatever. It's nothing like that. I think that he's just a regular garden variety troll who's trolling a fat lady. He might in some ways be attracted to her, but I don't think he thinks of her as anything more than like just someone to preoccupy him when he's bored. So whenever he's now bored, he'll like text her. He's like, I wonder if I can get this loser to come and meet up with me. Because that's the vibe he gives me. Otherwise, there's no reason why he should be so back and forth with her.
I haven't had a lot of men. No, not really. I haven't had a lot of men, really.
I believe that. I 100% believe that. Chantal needs validation from men way too much for her to actually have been with a lot of them, despite her stories. And she'll admit as much in a second.
Honestly.
His name is Avocado.
Avocado, yeah. Like, I had a lot of lover stories, but, like, a lot of them, like, weren't actual, like, they were just, some of them I didn't even hook up with, but...
See, she admits it. She admits that at least some of them were like false, that she didn't hook up with them, that she just sort of made up the story. And I believe that 100%. If you listen to her actual tales, the way she describes people it's insane. It's like the Mary Sueist of Mary Sue fics.
Don't boy crazy age shame. It's gotta be on some time somewhere. Yeah, I mean, it's not hurting anybody.
That's not age shaming her. That's maturity shaming her. And we can maturity shame her because that is something to be ashamed of. The fact that you've lived 37 years worth of life and absorbed nothing for 20 of them is both remarkable and extremely sad. And people should be allowed to point that out. That's not age shaming. You can crave male attention and sex and love and whatever else at any age in your life, but if that becomes the sole purpose of your life, you're infatuated with them, you're making poor decisions because you want that validation, then it is something that we can criticize you for. The fact that you seem to have no insight into your own behavior, the fact that you're jeopardizing your sobriety, those are things that we can hold you to task over. So it's not age shaming.
How's what boyfriend? Why is everyone flipping out that I possibly have a boyfriend?
We're not flipping out that you possibly have a boyfriend. We are flipping out over the fact that you are seeing somebody who literally got you started on the path to addiction in the first place. You are supposed to be avoiding, like, if you guys haven't seen Smokey Stephen Mark's video where they talk about places, people, things to avoid when you are doing drugs. So when you're trying to get clean from doing drugs, you should. It's very, very insightful. So the fact that she is actively engaging with the same person who brought this toxicity into her life is absolutely mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, I've been not wearing foundation. Just like taking care of my skin more by like washing it more and like moisturizing it and
washing it more as opposed to the none that she was washing it before.
And I find that it actually just really makes it like just better. Like it's like less, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens when you don't leave makeup caked into your face and then fall asleep with it day after day after day. Makeup isn't supposed to sit on your skin. Like, look, I do a double cleanse every single day before I go to bed at night, okay? Like, you don't have to be crazy like I am, but you actually have to take care of your skin. She's remarkably lucky that her skin doesn't have any special needs. I've got eczema. Like, you can see all the texture on my face right now, like right here, because I get eczema and then it forms little, like, bumps on my skin, and it's just how it is. I can't do anything about it. So she's lucky in that regard. But like always, Chantal doesn't seem to realize how lucky she is, and she's perfectly free to just squander all of that.
Has your mom ever voiced disappointment in your life choices? Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay, my whole family's disappointed in me.
Of course.
Why wouldn't they love me?
Yes, but I had a lot of people comment on this on my last video, and I probably should have done it in the beginning, but I'll put it in here. I want to apologize. I spoke on something that I had no right to speak on, mostly because my own personal experience is so limited and I'm not learned on that. So I don't have either one of those two things. So when it comes to dealing with people in your life who have addictions, I should just get my damn mouth shut, because some things are just not for me to speak on. So I'm very sorry to anyone who is watching who's had like struggles with that in the past. Please disregard everything I said. I'm not going to delete that video for two reasons. One, because people have already seen it. Taking down that record does nothing. All it does is that it makes it seem like I'm trying to hide from my words in the past, and I don't do that. Everything I said. So it's free game for you to criticize me, and it's fair if no one wants to forgive me for it. 100%. Totally see where you're coming from. You know, that's a fair feeling to have. But when you are sitting here and when Chantal's like here and she's like, well, my family loves me, I hope this doesn't come out of left field, but like with anything else in life, and this I do have some personal experience with, people have limits on their love. There are very few people who will love you unconditionally, but beyond even that, unconditional love doesn't mean unconditional support. It doesn't mean unconditional affection. It doesn't mean unconditional help, right? And she's burning bridges with her family right now, acting the way that she is. Because I don't for a second think that Chantal is sober. And the more times she does this, where she goes through a quote-unquote relapse and she goes to her family and says, I really need help, the less and less likely it is that they're going to show up for her. Because at some point, the amount that she's taken from them emotionally, physically, literally, is going to wear on them to the point where they're going to turn around and say, like, I love you, but you're on your own. And that, I think, would be her mom, her sister, maybe her dad, maybe her grandma. I think most extended family members, like maybe even her uncle and definitely her friends, are going to turn around and say, like, dude, I can't do this anymore. You are literally using up all of my available, like, time, energy, and effort, and I don't have the space in my life for your shit. You know, I've got my own shit. Everybody has their own shit to be dealing with. So if you keep piling onto other people the way that she is doing right now, and then not doing anything on her own end to change her behavior, they're going to leave, as they should. And she's gonna have to hit true, real rock bottom and then work on herself. I hope, right? Some people never get to that true rock bottom. They just think everybody else is being the asshole and they continue on that way. But once more, I think that's gonna have to come in conjunction with her not having the ability to be on YouTube anymore for her to really, really hit rock bottom.
I mean, they don't approve of what I do sometimes, or
most of the time. Should be. Yeah, if my daughter was addicted to drugs and then actively went back to hooking up with the guy that got her addicted to drugs, I too would have a few feelings about that.
My hernia, I think it's starting to bother me. I know the purring. I think it is. Like, they didn't say anything about, like, how, you know, like, they know it's there, but it's starting to, like, I get stomach pain sometimes.
So that the stomach pains could be from a variety of things. So I can't say, especially in the area that she was pointing in. Understand? I mean, she probably knows what a hernia feels like, but I would not be surprised if there was some other issue happening. The thing about your guts are that they are confusing, and the brain doesn't have a lot of sensors in there. There's sometimes when something hurts, it's like everything hurts. You don't really know. It's also why when you get anxiety, your brain immediately says, "Oh, stomach ache. Something is wrong," and it must be those confusing gut areas, right? And it just says stomach ache is the thing that's happening there. So. We don't know. Could be a hernia, could be something else. If she's gaining the weight back rapidly, then that could explain her hernia hurting again. Your body shifting that rapidly can cause other injuries to flare back up.
You don't stop loving your kids. Exactly. Like, your family is concerned, and they show they're very disappointed, and they get super mad because they're scared and don't want to lose you, you know? I feel bad for my mom too.
Yeah, that's true. They do get worried and sad and all of those things, and they don't stop loving you. But that doesn't mean that their help and their ability to show up for you all the time is going to remain constant if you keep abusing that, right? People only have so much mental energy to give to someone. And if you take up all of that mental space, then it's done. They have no more room for your bullshit, you know? That happens. It happens to people. It happens to everybody. And then not just in terms of addiction, but in general in life. If you've ever had a friend that just calls you and like dumps all their trauma on you, you'll understand what I mean. You get to a point with them that you're just like, I can't do this anymore.
But, you know, our sister seems to have it together. What does that mean? What does have it together mean? Like, what does that mean?
You know what that means. So her sister is getting married, and honestly, I would not be surprised if she started this drug thing around the same time that she started using drugs. I shouldn't say it started this drug thing. She started using drugs around the same time that she found out that her sister was getting married. Now, I don't know if Chantal ever really wants to get married, but it's gotta hurt knowing that someone who's significantly younger than you is getting married and moving on to other things in their life, and you are potentially just stuck in the same place that you always have been and maybe always will be. So, especially when it's a sibling, especially when that relationship's a little bit more contentious. And absolutely, you know, she probably loves her sister, and her sister probably loves her, but that doesn't mean that that relationship can't be contentious nonetheless.
Like, how, what makes my, like, you know what I mean? Like, what does that mean to have it together?
That she isn't addicted to drugs, she has a job, she has hobbies, friends, all of those other things that make a person a whole, complete person. Not just pieces of a life that she seems to have. Not just sitting in one place, being on her computer all day long, then lying on her bed talking into a phone. It's seeing friends and family. It's potentially going on vacation. It's being able to buy clothes from regular stores, eating what you want to moderation, not feeling sick after, not having to think about it. All of those things are having it together. I'm not saying that everybody has to have everything together in their life in all aspects, but she seems to be doing stuff at least somewhat in the right order. There is no aspect of Chantal's life that is not currently in complete and utter shambles. That's what having it together means. It means that you have clear goals for yourself moving forward. It means you have a path forward, unlike whatever this is.
I want to analyze that because not a lockout. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
She doesn't want to analyze it. She wants people to tell her because it makes her actually mad. She's like, well, what is it about me that isn't, you know, like, it doesn't have it together? She doesn't like that. She doesn't like that she feels like she's being called out.
Or having a job, or no public sex space. I wasn't with the fucking dealer, Jesus. Oh my god. Oh god.
The fact that that's even something she has to address should give her pause in asking why, you know, people don't think she has her life together.
Yes, so she does in a lot of ways have it more together than me, for sure.
Good. Yes, she does.
She's clean. She's very clean.
How much of that do you want to bet is a reaction to growing up with someone who has probably been filthy their entire life? I mean, I'm genuinely curious because I've had people in my life who grew up when they were younger in maybe with not a lot of money, right? I didn't grow up rich. And so they grew up with not a lot of money in their families. This is my extended family. And as a reaction to that, they didn't maybe live in the cleanest places, right? They had to make do with what was affordable to them. And the reaction to that is that they're very fastidiously clean now that they have the availability to nicer places. they hire people to come in and clean their house. They hire people to come in and like do all of their laundry. They like keep their appliances spotless. They keep their bathroom spotless. It's just what happened as a result of not having the ability to have that when they were younger. So I wonder if her sister is like looked at how Chantal grew up, looked at how filthy she kept herself and her place, and has just sort of adapted. She's like, I'm never going to turn out that way. The same kind of way that Chantal behaves is like, you can't tell me what to do. I'm never going to be what you want me to be. In the same way she's fighting and she's like, I'm not going to turn out like Chantal. Oh, Chantal's morbidly obese. I'm going to be a bodybuilder. Oh, she's absolutely filthy in every regard. I'm going to be like obsessively clean. I'm not saying it's a healthy way to be, but at least the traits that she is displaying are more socially acceptable and less likely to cause her psychic damage.
Like obsessively clean. She's into fitness. Yeah, she goes to the gym regularly. Stability wise, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because she seeks that out in her life. People look for that sort of stuff. Like, once more, Chantal being so incredibly unstable, probably also in her younger years, from what we've heard from her, probably had an impact on the way that her sister looks at things. If Chantal displayed that recklessness, that lack of stability in her life before, I'm sure it would make perfect sense that her sister would look at the way that Chantal's life has turned out and says, I'm never going to be like that.
Yeah, for sure. I've not really been stable.
No.
Ever.
No, she hasn't.
In a lot of ways.
In all the ways.
She's my younger sister, yeah. No, Bam, I know. I really wanted to just analyze that, like, because I'm curious what people think is, like, normal,
You know what's normal. She has the ability to identify what's normal. That's why she can buck against it so precisely. That's why she has the ability to look at me like, I'm never going to be like that. I don't want to be normal. Why would you say that now? You've said multiple times that you don't want to have a normal life in any regards. So you clearly understand what a normal life is. This is just, she did not like the fact that people are like, oh, she has her life together in relation to you. It was a combative question that she didn't want to sound combative after the fact.
I mean, my life is not stable, but it's still, I don't know, fun somehow.
It's not fun for anybody else, and it's not fun for anybody, including her. She only says that so that she can lie to herself about it. Her life isn't fun.
In a lot of ways.
No, it isn't.
But in a lot of ways, it's a mess. In
most ways, it's a mess. Tell me what's fun about someone who's morbidly obese, who has so many health problems that she could literally fill out an entire, year's worth of medical charts by herself. Tell me what's fun about someone who can barely go up and down a flight of stairs. Tell me what's fun about someone who currently just 5 minutes ago was complaining about a umbilical hernia. What's fun about someone who's addicted to drugs? What's fun about someone who has to be high out of their mind to have any kind of enjoyment in their lives? What's fun about someone who can't travel on a plane without buying a first-class ticket and, honestly, more than likely, 2 tickets? What's fun about any of that? What's fun about being so limited in your life that this is how you define fun?
Watch your stream back. Why people don't like you anymore.
Yeah. Reflect on your own fucking words, and then you'll figure out why people are mad at you.
What? I don't get it.
Maybe do the thing that they asked you to, and then come back on, and then you'll get it. But just saying, I don't get it. Well, you didn't listen to the first part. He said, go back, watch what you said, and then look at the reaction of the people, and then you will know. She's just like, well, I don't know. I don't want to figure it out. I don't want to put in any of the hard work. Just tell me now. Tell me now why you're mad at me. Because then she can instantly dismiss it. I didn't say that. Because she does that all the time. She just sort of tweaks her own memories around so she's never the bad guy in any situation.
Because I do the edibles, or I just feel like I'm being not liked, and I'm not trying to hurt anybody.
You're not trying to hurt anybody, but especially with her reckless driving, you are hurting people. With the way that you treat a lot of mental health topics, you are hurting people. With the way that you dismiss people, you are hurting people. With the way that you act on camera, you are hurting people. Even if those people are just your family. You are hurting people. You're hurting Pete's with your behavior. So when you sit there and you say, well, I'm not trying to hurt people, it doesn't matter. Your try means absolutely nothing. You are hurting people.
You know what I mean? I'm just not feeling too well mentally. Have any of you, ever been in an abusive relationship?
See, She puts this out there, and she's on camera, and she's made sure to mention that she doesn't have any makeup on, and she's continuously put her face right here by the camera, and oftentimes she's had the cheek facing you that has the bruise on it. So now she's saying that she has that. Has anybody here ever been in an abusive relationship? And she'll walk this back just a few minutes after this, because it doesn't go the way that she wants it to. What she wants is for people to pick up the threads that, oh, she has been abused, and give her all the sympathy, and not immediately jump to, it's Dom doing it, so stop seeing Dom.
Why am I not mean and cocky to people?
You are.
Am I?
She's absolutely mean and cocky to people. The way that she's like, well, I caught it just in the nick of time. No, you did not. You did not catch anything.
No, I'm just asking. I'm not saying I'm in one or whatever. I'm just asking.
Mm-hmm. See, that's the thing. She's like, oh, I'm just asking. I'm not saying I'm in one. I'm just asking. But you're putting the seeds out there so that one day when you come back on and you said, I think I was in an abusive relationship, you will be like, oh, right, she mentioned it that one time. Remember when she was asking, she'll say, well, I felt too, uncomfortable to mention it then, but, I'm in an abusive relationship. And this is not me saying that she's not in an abusive relationship. I don't know. And honestly, given the behavior of Dom that she's described in the past, it would not surprise me. But what she is doing right now is emotionally priming her audience to drop a bomb on them later. And if she was doing it because she was genuinely uncomfortable and nervous, it would be one thing. But we've seen her display this pattern of behavior multiple times before in the past. She's doing it to garner sympathy and views. And I don't like that, especially with something as serious as abuse.
I don't know if I can talk about it, but I feel like I have some trauma from it.
Then see a doctor. We are not your doctor. If you've got legitimate trauma, then go talk to a doctor. Don't trauma dump on us. It is unacceptable, especially with the number of people who were in her audience saying that, I've had experiences with this too. I've had experiences with this too. Why would you do that to them? That is an absurd way to behave. If you have issues, then you are in the Canadian healthcare system. You have every resource available to you to try and get these issues resolved. If you're choosing not to, then that's on you. That's not on us anymore.
And I ask people if anyone's been in an abusive relationship. I feel bad because I feel like it's kind of like I'm just asking it casually, but I'm just feeling like just wondering, I guess.
What she's doing right now is that she's implying that she's been in an abusive relationship without ever actually confirming anything so that she can walk back the statements if she wants. But she can continue to bring this thread up so that she can avail herself of all of the sympathy and love that people who have been the victims of domestic abuse and domestic violence get, right? The outpouring of love that comes with it. Once more, not saying that she hasn't had that. I would find it perfectly believable. And quite frankly, some of the situations she's described in her past, the French lover in particular, really strike me as an abusive relationship. So I'm not saying she wasn't abused. I'm just saying that at this moment, she is using that as a sort of deflection, especially in the wake of how many people have an issue with her right now, especially in the wake of the fact that Joe is mad at her, the fact that Annie has left her chats. She's using this as a cover, and I don't like that.
If what I went through was something like that.
You know who could help you figure it out? I know I'm a broken record, but a therapist could help.
These whole 2 months actually have made me feel, not 2 months, well, I've just felt more and more like worthless as a person. That's not me. I just don't feel like myself.
And I wonder what else she's been doing for 2 months. Or should I say who else she's been doing for 2 months. But remember, he's not abusive, you guys. He's a great guy. He's a great guy who in no way, shape, or form is a drug dealer.
I just want to be on the road to recovery in every way. And I think I should turn the camera off, but like being on here helps me in a lot of ways.
Her saying that being on here helps me, of course she's going to say that being on here helps her, because saying anything otherwise would mean the people would no longer support her, people who actually care about her, who are in her live chats, right? They'll say that, okay, well then I'm not going to be here since this is harming you, and she needs the money and she's willing to do anything for it. As for wanting to be on the road to recovery, that takes a lot more than you just saying, I want to be on the road to recovery. It requires work, effort, energy on your part. You have to actively do things to make that a reality. Stuff isn't just handed to you in life. You need to work at it to get there. You can't just say, well, I want to be on the road to recovery. Bam, there we go. I don't want to be addicted to drugs. Bam, there I am. I want to be, supermodel skinny. Bam, there you are. That's not how that works. You have to work to make it happen. And that middle ground, that area where she has to work to make it happen, is not something she's willing to engage with ever.
Just to talk about it. I'm not trying to be manipulative.
She just is manipulative. But I don't believe that. I do think she's trying to be manipulative. I think what she wants, she's not getting, which is all of the sympathy and love that she was expecting. And that's what she wants right now. She's not getting it.
I think I'd rather talk about this stuff in members only.
And there it is. She's like, I'm not manipulating you, but I only want to talk about this in members only. Because now anyone who has anything to say will have to say it in members only, because that's where they'll get all the details, which they'll want to comment on. And she will be able to milk them for money. And that's why I have a problem with what she said. Because while I believe that some situations that she was in and probably is in now are abusive, the fact that she is using them to make profit on the internet belittles what people who are in those situations go through, herself included. It belittles the trauma that people go through. People die. People are killed when they're in an abusive relationship. And the fact that she's just so casually mentioning it, the fact that she's laying down the groundwork for it, the fact that she's using this as a way to get money out of her audience is absolutely disgusting. If you weren't ready to talk about it, I can understand. But then you should not have said anything about it.
I think I'm just gonna end the stream, go to bed, have a members only stream. Okay, so.
All right. That will be it for Chantal's video. It just started replaying again. That will be it for Chantal's video. That's all I really wanted to put in there. She says she's gonna, only make a members only chat, and then she's gonna go in there. And I think she did it once more with the intention of trying to get as much money out of her audience as she can. And I think that's disgusting. All right. I am a little bit heated in this video. I don't think domestic violence is something that you should play around with. I don't think it should be a topic of discussion on a channel like Chantal's. And honestly, it puts me in this weird position where I don't know if I believe her. Because while I think certain situations in her past have definitely been abusive, I don't know if she is currently the victim of abuse because of her behavior, because of the fact that she lies all the time. And I don't like being in that position. I don't like the fact that she's putting not only me, but everybody in her chat in that position. And quite frankly, I think it's disgusting that she is using that as a way to garner money on the internet. It's disgusting. I hate it. It makes me so furious at her. You guys have no idea. Anyway, I'm going to get off this video before I say something that I truly regret. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, thumbs up if you like this video, thumbs down if you hated it. Subscription is down below. Hit all, for the notifications if you want to know when I upload any videos right away. I've got all my social medias linked down below. Instagram, Twitter, Patreon. Think of Patreon as a tip jar for the internet. If you like the job that I'm doing here, you want me to continue, consider tossing a few coins in my direction. You don't have to, and it's not necessary, but I appreciate everyone who does, and it really does help me out here. You guys wouldn't believe, but trust me, it makes a huge difference for me. And as always, I'm Jasmine, the sequel, and I am not relatable. Peace. A special thank you to my patrons, Acrophobe, Ariel M, Christina, Courtney EP, Wild Rose, Xanthal, Jam Beans, Colleen L, Debbie Elliott, Just a Jude, Kate O, and D Higgins.